What's up YouTube? Welcome to the Reddit Battle League Rundown, where we go over each battle, talk about what happened, what worked, what didn't, and then we'll take a quick look at the scoreboard and the overall standings. I'll be filling in for Crump as he's got a bit of a cold, but he left me the script so we can still provide the weekly rundown. So with that, let's take a look at this week's battles. The first match we have this week are the Toronto Staraptors versus the Tacoma Triantars. The Triantars begin by U-turning out in order to get Sigalov in, while the Staraptors set up some hazards. Porygon 2 pops out but gets badly poisoned on the switch. Jirachi does a good number to Sigalov but falls to Dark Pulse. Dugtrio is then able to grab a KO for itself as Rock Tomb is enough for Sigalov to go down. Soon after, Thunder sustains a lot of damage but knocks out Golem with Flash Cannon. Clefable gets paralyzed due to Porygon 2 but lands an Ice Beam on Thunders to get the KO. After a brief back and forth, Dugtrio finally takes down Clefable as Raikou pops up but goes down due to the amount of hazards set up on the field. At this point, Chestnut is able to come back and take down both Mega Sharpedo and Mean Shell. For this battle, there won't be a review as it's a bit weird to look at my own battle objectively, so moving on. This next match we have the Golden State War Turtles leading with Smeargle against the New York Kecleons who lead with Noivern. The Kecleons play it smart by taunting the Smeargle, which is unable to get a Spore off, both doing an immense amount of damage to each other before switching out. The Kecleons set up their rocks thanks to Nidoqueen, but Rotom gets burnt on the switch. Rotom Volt switches out and the Kecleons get the desired matchup against Roserade. From there, they are able to score the first KO of the match by landing a critical Air Slash but faint due to Life Orb damage. Smeargle is then able to set up Sticky Web after doing massive damage to Adino but faints to knock off. Jellicent is able to burn Adino but in return gets paralyzed. Later, Rotom misses a Hydro Pump against Sylveon but it is able to knock it out with a Volt Switch. Following that, the War Turtles set up Dragon Dance and are able to patch up their paralysis due to their Lumberry. Dragonite is then able to knock out Adino and then take down Mega Blastoise with a critical Outrage. Jellicent is able to score an easy KO by taking down a weakened Rotom, but Mew is able to come in and throw an Energy Ball their way to score a KO for the Kecleons. However, the War Turtles are then able to bring back Dragonite and take Nidoqueen and Mew down. The New York Kecleons probably had their best showing this season as they were able to set the pace of the match right out of the gates by countering their opponent's lead, then following up by getting the matchups they wanted. Moreover, they played much more aggressive and it really paid off as they were able to knock out Roserade. However, the War Turtles were able to get back their footing after Roserade went down by setting up Sticky Web. They were guaranteed to outspeed the Kecleons. This, combined with the crit on the Mega Blastoise, was a major factor in why they were able to pull ahead with a close 2-0 victory. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravias. Swallow is able to activate Guts while the Steelers switch out into Triantar to set up the Sandstorm. The Steelers are then able to set up their rocks and keep up the pressure against the Ravias. It's KO after KO as Go-Goat, Donphan, Latios, Gardevoir, and Triantar fall. Celebi is able to set up the rocks once again, but it's weak enough for the Sandstorm to sweep it away. Keldeo comes back to knock out Swampert, only to faint to the returning Swallow. Toxicroak is then able to knock out Swallow but faints to Rhyperior, who then is knocked out by Moltres. This was such a punch-for-punch match towards the end. There isn't a lot to say about this one. The Steelers knew how much damage Triantar was capable of, and all they had to do was position themselves so it could jump in and give them the edge. Moreover, the Steelers had the speed and bulk where it mattered. The Raiders were making some decent predictions, though some of the predictions were just a bit off. It really lost them some traction, and the Steelers were able to capitalize on the minor mistakes. The Steelers will get another win with a fast 1-0 victory. The Minnesota Eon Twins go head-to-head with the Minneapolis Mamoswines as the Eon Twins are able to set up dual screens right away. Meanwhile, the Mamoswines set up two nasty plots, then baton pass to Starmie, who is then able to deal a heavy Psy Shock to knock out Darmanitan. Mesprit sets up rocks but falls asleep due to Tangrowth Sleep Powder. Tornadus is then able to come in and throw two Air Slashes to take out Tangrowth. Afterwards, the Mamoswines bring back Starmie in order to Rapid Sprint away the rocks, but get KO'd in the process. This enables Charizard to come in, Mega Evolve, and knock out Tornadus. The Eon Twins bring their own Mega to scare out Charizard, but are not able to knock out the Quillfish with Earthquake and get paralyzed as a result. Surprisingly, Quillfish is carrying Destiny Bond, but the Eon Twins switch out in order to bring back a sleeping Mesprit. However, Mesprit wakes up the following turn and paralyzes Togetic. With Starmie out of the way, Mesprit is then able to set up rocks once again. Togetic gets paralyzed for a few turns in which the Eon Twins are able to set up their screens once again. Soon after, Latias is able to KO Togetic. Porygon Z is brought out and scores a crit tri-attack to take down the Latias. Unfortunately for Porygon Z, it gets paralyzed by Mesprit. Mesprit sacrifices itself to Healing Wish in order to cure Mega Gyarados, who is then able to set up a Dragon Dance and take down Porygon Z, Quillfish, and Mega Charizard for the win. With this match, the Mamoswines tried setting up way too early with Starmie. It's a really cool set, but playing it that early, especially with screens up, really hurt them. With Quillfish again, it was a really interesting set, but the Eon Twins didn't take the bait and they lost more traction. Overall, the Mamoswines brought some unique sets that can definitely work and do a lot of damage, but they need to be more cautious in revealing the hand so early in the match. The Eon Twins setting up their screens really worked in this particular battle. It gave them some wiggle room, but ultimately they were able to do what they wanted because of their reliable team, in which each member was able to play to its strength. The Eon Twins get a 2-0 victory over the Mammoth Swines. Next, we have the Bavarian Beetles versus the Colorado Avalogs. The match starts off quick as Heatran takes a huge hit but counters with Magma Storm to knock out the disguised Zoark. The Beetles then send out the real Chansey to Seismic Toss Heatran and even out the game. X-Blood gets burned, but the Avalogs have brought a couple taunt uses to prevent Chansey from setting up rocks. The Avalogs do some chip damage to the Beetles, but X-Blood eventually goes down due to burn damage racking up. Next, Samurai goes head to head with Ferrothorn. The Avalogs decide to set up Sword Dance but end up getting paralyzed. However, the Lumberry does cure them and they're able to follow through with a huge superpower, leaving Ferrothorn weakened. Soon after, Samurai scores the KO with Waterfall, though once again gets paralyzed. The Beetles use this as an opportunity to bring in Chansey and set up the rocks, but faint shortly due to Mega Pinsir. The Beetles bring out their Sableye, but miss a huge Will-O-Wisp. As a result, Mega Pinsir is then able to knock out the remaining members of the Beedrills. The Avalogs came prepared for this match. They brought Taunt on enough of their Pokemon to check Chansey and knew how important Mega Pinsir was. They got X-Blood to weaken their opponent's team just enough to keep them on their heels and brought the Crack Set for Samurai to prevent Ferrothorn from doing what it does best. The Beedrill's best check to Mega Pinsir was Sableye, but missing the Will-O-Wisp near the end of the match was so crucial and made it that much easier for the Avalogs to clean up. Furthermore, sending up rocks early in the game would have put a lot of pressure on Pinsir, but the Avalogs made that tough to do so. All in all, this caused the Beedrills to be constantly on defensive and gave the Avalogs a 4-0 victory. The Flinch Tropiuses begin this match with a great start against the Oakland Typhlosions as they are able to Earthquake Magneton and activate its Sturdy. The Tropius apply some major pressure to their opponent as they are able to Valley Poison both Slowbro and Goodra, which allowed Togekiss to snag a KO. Shortly after, Uxie is able to pick off Magneton with U-turn. The Typhlosions bring out Alakazam and scare Vaporeon, only for Hooper to catch a Signal Beam and faint. The Tropiuses catch a break as they paralyze Alakazam with Body Slam. This allows them to shake off the bruises and take down Alakazam. The match goes back and forth as Uxie catches a Willow, but Vaporeon is able to poison Dusclops, who after a while faints. Likewise with Slowbro, who also falls down to poison damage. Finally, Mega Aggron takes down Landers with Avalanche and gets the W. This match got a bit stally towards the end, but the Typhlosions had a really good check to all of that. Magneton checked both Vaporeon and Togekiss, and letting it go down so early in the match really let them do what they do best. After Magneton, it was one worst case scenario after another. The Typhlosion's bulkiest Pokemon got poisoned until they were either fainted because of it, or were weak enough to be picked off, while their fastest Pokemon Alakazam got paralyzed, leaving them with limited mobility and crippled walls. The Tropius were able to take advantage of Magneton fainting, and after that gave them free reigns to throw statuses at their opponents. Not to mention their bulkiness kept their team around to outlast their opponent. With a few hacks, the Tropius score a 5-0 victory this week. Now let's take a look at this week's scoreboard. Keep in mind we only review the battles that either have a battle video associated with it or are completed on time. However, the scoreboard is always kept up to date for the current week. Next, we have the standings, and this week's top 5 are the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Flint Tropiuses, the Colorado Avalogs, the Toronto Staraptors, and the Golden State War Turtles. Be sure to hit up the league on YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, and WordPress if you have any questions about the league or are interested in joining yourself. And with that, this concludes the week's rundown. We'll see you guys next week.